Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tapping into that spirit of scientific investigation that's, well, it's pretty much hidden all around us. We're diving into a text that wants us to look at the world less like someone just memorizing facts and more like a real investigator on a quest.
And it all kicks off with a question you've probably never thought to ask, but have definitely seen. You know, you're looking at a fresh puri, all puffed up like a little golden balloon, and you notice, hey, one side is always thinner than the other. Why is that? It seems so simple, but it's actually a fantastic little scientific puzzle.
So yeah, this little kitchen table puzzle, it's our perfect starting point. It's a great reminder that some of the biggest scientific journeys can start with the absolute smallest, most everyday curiosities.
Okay, so let's get right into it. The whole idea here is that science isn't some far-off, complicated thing that only happens in labs with people in white coats. Nope, it really begins the second you ask why or how about something you see. You know, why does dough rise? Why does that pooty puff up? What's going on with the stars in the sky? That's where it all starts.
So how do you get from just being curious to doing the real work of science? Well, it turns out the point isn't to just collect a bunch of answers from a textbook. The real goal is to build the skills to go out and find new facts for yourself.
And this lays out such a cool path to becoming that investigator. It starts around grade 6 with just pure wonder, just asking why. Then by grade 7, it evolves. You start to see that answers aren't the end. They just lead to more, better questions. And then you're finally at the investigation stage. You combine that wonder with that evolution, and you start actively finding things out on your own.
This brings us to what is really the core philosophy for any investigator. And it's a beautiful metaphor, really, for balancing two totally essential ways of thinking that you need for any kind of real discovery.
This really gets to the heart of it. A true scientific mindset needs two things at once. First, you need the root. That means being grounded in what's real, in careful, hands-on observation. But you can't stop there. You also need the kite. That freedom for your mind to just soar with curiosity, to explore the unknown, and dream up totally new ideas.
So you see, it's all about that balance. It's absolutely crucial. You can't have one without the other. I mean, think about it. Careful observations without any creative thinking, that's just a boring list of facts. And creative ideas that aren't grounded in reality, well, they can just fly away into pure fantasy. Real discovery happens right there in the middle, in that sweet spot.
All right, so once you have this amazing toolkit, your grounded roots, and your soaring kite, a whole universe of puzzles just opens right up. Let's take a quick spin through the incredible range of questions you can suddenly start to explore.
Your investigation could start by zooming way in. I mean, looking at a single drop of water and uncovering this entire hidden world of microbes, things that are completely invisible to us but are so important for our lives. And then, from that tiny drop, you can zoom all the way out to the cosmos itself. You can use the exact same principles of observation and questioning to understand the phases of the moon and how its cycle actually gave us our very first calendars. It's mind-boggling when you think about it. And this single approach, this way of thinking, it unlocks pretty much everything. You can look at the physics that stop a car or the atmospheric pressure that creates a cyclone. You can study the tiny particles that make up your world or how light bends through a lens. This same mindset helps us make sense of entire ecosystems and even start to tackle the huge challenges facing our planet. You see, it's all connected.
Okay, so now that we've got our investigator's toolkit all ready to go, let's circle all the way back to where we started. Let's apply this to our original mystery. How would we actually go about cracking the case of the lopsided puri?
Well, here's how. You don't just guess, you get systematic. First, you ask a really clear question. Then, you figure out all the things you could change, the variables, right? Like the thickness of the dough, the type of flour, how hot the oil is. You decide exactly what you're going to watch for. And here's the most important part. You change only one thing at a time. That's how you isolate what's really making a difference. And, of course, you keep notes on everything. This is science, happening right in your kitchen.
But here's the kicker. And honestly, this is the most brilliant part. After all that careful work, you might not even find a simple answer. Because, get this, the source material points out that this super simple, everyday thing, it isn't actually fully understood, even by scientists. And you know what? That is perfectly okay.
Because the ultimate goal of being an investigator isn't always about finding that one final capital A answer. The real prize is the process itself. It's about learning how to see the world more clearly, how to think critically, and most of all, how to ask better and better questions. It really is the journey, not the destination.
So we'll leave you with this challenge. Just look around at the way water beads up on a leaf, how a spider builds its web, the different sounds your feet make on different floors. What simple, everyday mystery will you choose to investigate? The tools are all yours now. Happy investigating.